too. Hold up, hold up.
Now I think it's this line.
All right. All right, Q the notary. Hey, so I appreciate that, Q. All right, those on YouTube, we apologize. We've been live on IG, so see, I didn't forget about you. So pretty much, so tonight guest is from the West Coast, and she's been extremely very supportive since the start. I remember I used to reach out to her for questions. I even asked you a question about the immigration services at one time, and
Yes.
you were like always happy to provide the resources of what you know. So without no further ado, would you please introduce yourself to everyone?
Yes. So my name's Jenny. My name's Jenny Toledo. I'm from SoCal. I am a notary, loan signing agent, and I'm a paralegal as well. So yeah, I'm just about 45 minutes outside of Los Angeles. But yes, Mr. Matherin and I go a little ways back. um, and I appreciate everything you do for the notary community. You know, I support you and all your channels and everything you got going on, because you're always willing to give back, and it's so important because none of us start this knowing everything, right? And nobody knows everything. So it's
Yeah.
I never knew, and there's people who have helped me out too. So I always try to make sure that I want to give that back because it all comes back around.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, and that's one thing a lot of people keep failing to realize in this business or any business. Everything comes back.
Yeah.
You being willing to help out others. Everyone that will get back to you one way or another. It may not happen the same day, the same week, but months and a year later,
Right.
it comes back to you. So Miss Jenny, so
Yeah.
you out there in the West Coast, you just chilling and
I remember always, you always say, "Oh, it looks so nice on the West Coast," and it's like, but the traffic, the traffic is like the worst you'll ever deal with in this whole country.
oh
But
really?
I always see you on the road, and you have such beautiful scenery when you're out there on the road, and such a nice, we don't get a lot of weather here, so I see the
Yeah,
snow and all of that, and but yeah, you're
exactly.
always out there,
Oh
always out
yes, yeah. So it's definitely the little things that makes the drive worthwhile, especially out here, especially during the snow time. So my thing. So how long have you been in business?
How long? Well, I actually just started my second commission, so
Second
about four
commission.
years. I started pretty much. Maybe you and I started at the same time, but I got my commission in 2018, and it literally just ended the 31st of March, and so I just started my second commission.
Oh, oh,
Yeah,
okay. So yours ended in March. So how long are you commissioned there? Because
4
mine's
years.
7 years. Oh,
Yeah,
four
they're four
years.
years.
Wow. Yeah, here in Massachusetts it's 7 years, so I
Oh
still have
wow! I
yeah,
didn't know that.
I still have about 2 more years until I have to deal with this whole process of getting
Uh-huh.
recommissioned. But that is amazing. So, what services do you
I
offer?
well, I started off. I think everybody. Well, we're notaries first, right?
Oh,
So I
say
started
that
off
again,
very
because a lot
small.
of people tend to forget that.
Yeah, and I have a paralegal background. I've been paralegal for about 20 years now. So and I really really love what I do. So it really kind of just fell kind of naturally, I want to say, for me.
Mhm.
Executing legal documents has always not been a problem for me. So I just kind of like fell into it that way. But along the ways, over the years, I had heard about mobile notaries, and then I had
Uh-huh.
also heard about loan signing agents. So a couple of times, I can't even tell you. It's actually a funny story. I've just throughout my career, I've thought about, oh yeah, I should get my notary commission. And then at one time, I way back in I was working at a law firm in like 2002. I actually
Wow.
went down and took the test and did all of that, but I didn't file my bond on time. And then I was just like, I'll deal with it another time. So here, if you don't file your bond within 30 days, you got to start all over. So
Oh, wow.
anyway, yeah, so I was like, I'll get around to it. And, time passes and life goes on and, just things happen. And then I heard about actually loan signing agents, I want to say like back in 2006.
Yep.
This lady actually was refinancing my house, and this lady came. I didn't even know that was a thing, but it actually was a
Hey,
thing.
hey,
She
some people
came
still don't
to
think
my
it's
house
a
with a
thing.
big stack of papers, and we did the refinance there. And I thought, wow, this is really interesting. Chit chatted with her a little bit, and it's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, it's a great career and all of that. And then again, I was like, oh yeah, I'll get around to it. But then finally, I pulled the actually another time, I was working in I worked for an attorney who did criminal work, and
Okay.
sometimes they would have mobile notaries come in the office because she didn't really have anybody on staff to do it. They would have to have their plea agreements notarized sometimes. So the notaries would come in, and I'm noticing, like, wow, that's really interesting that you guys just come in and notarize the plea agreements
Yeah.
and you're done, right? So, and same thing, I'm like, yeah, I'll get around to it. So finally I pulled the trigger. Long story short, I pulled the trigger in 2017. Yeah,
All right.
2017, and it was commissioned 2018.
Oh wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is amazing. So you've always been within the legal profession. So just
Yes, yes, and still
as
am.
you be
Still am.
oh so
I
you
dearly, dearly love it.
nice. Yeah, because you've been in there for over 20 about 20
Yeah.
years, so you
So
better
I'm
love
glad you have
it.
a part-timer's perspective on this. I know you had forgive me, last week. You had Kim on last week, and she was
Yes.
keeping it really real. I totally appreciated
Yeah, Cammy is
her
amazing.
yeah, and she's when you got on the subject of her job, and she says, "I'm not giving up my government job." So I thought that was a very authentic answer, and I really appreciated her honesty.
Oh yeah,
Because
definitely.
there are plenty of part-timers out here. There are lots of full-timers, and they have all my respect. But for me, uh, part-time is more of a fit for me.
Okay, yeah, makes sense. Well, that's why it's always, I always tell people you have to find what works for you, that what works with your lifestyle.
Yes.
And and we don't tell people to quit their job. If that's something that you want to do, I just hope everyone has their reserve at least, about a year. So you can no longer have 6 months. It's like, I think if you want to start
Right.
this at least a year just so you can be comfortable and go throughout the process. And so we not here. We are not going to tell you to quit your job. I know some people it will say that, jump
Hmm.
straight in, but it just goes back to knowing what works for you, what works for your
Right.
business model, and
Hmm.
also understanding your lifestyle. If you have a family, how is that going to affect them as well? So
Right.
those are some things that people need to take into consideration when they are thinking about joining this business, because it is a great business. It can be very rewarding if you take the time to learn it.
Right.
Yeah, because we do run into those individuals who just want to come in just to make the money, just to leave, and then 6 months down the line, they're no longer in business because they did not take the time to understand like the business, how to run the business.
Hmm.
All right. So with that being said, as far as can you tell me what's the process of becoming a notary in California? Because I am not aware of it.
Well, you have to take a 6-hour class when you first, with your first commission, and then you have to take the test, and then you have to file your bond and with the county within a certain amount of time. So there is a test involved, but I know in some other states there's not. You could just go straight to the county recorder's office and file your stuff, and you're done. Yeah, it's a little. I think the test is like, well, forgive me, like 45 questions or something like that, multiple choice. So yeah, you have to, but this is a serious office that you hold, right, with the state.
Yep.
So you really need people. They do need to take it seriously, but they obviously need to realize what it all entails, right? But this is true for any business. People are in it for the quick money. There's not always going to be quick money, and it's not sustainable, right?
Mhm.
I've Even in the few years that I've been a notary, I've seen a few different markets. We're talking about loan signings now.
Yep.
General notary work, there's always going to be that around, at least for now. I
Yeah.
know a lot of states too are opting for Ron, yeah,
Yep.
the remote online notary, which might serve its purpose as well, and people might do well with that too. But we if you're thinking or if you're considering about the business is something that you need to talk to people who are really been in it and who have, if you want something sustainable, if you want, and that's the thing that I appreciate about this business is very versatile in that way that you can make it what you want, right? I'm a part-timer and I hope to be a part-timer for a while. But for me, there are other goals that I have in mind. There's other work I want to do. And for some people, they like doing this all day long, every day, all day. So and again, it's versatile in that sense.
Yeah.
So that's what I really appreciate about the notary business, overall. And make it work for me, but no one's going to do that but me, right? No one's going to figure all this out but me. So again, people that are maybe came in, when interest rates were pretty good and it was all good and they're going to make that that's not sustainable and that's not going to take you very far. If this is something that you really want to do, if it's something that you just kind of want to feel it out and see how you're going to get out of it what you put back. It's just it's just like anything else. You're going to get out of it what you put back, what you put into it.
Yep. I 100% agree with you, and you are going to get out of it what you put in. And I wish that more people, hold on, somebody's racing outside. I wish that more people would take the time out to actually understand that process, because it is a process. Once you get commissioned, there's a lot of things that goes into it. I know it seems very easy. Okay, I'm gonna get commission or take the test and get my stamp and go out. But then you get those people who get into it where it's like they allow themselves to overthink. Now they let fear set in. All right, because they were all happy to get commission, go out there, meet people, make some money, build a relationship, and then when they get the supplies, the fear set in. It's like now they start to think, do I really want to do this? Like, so I don't feel comfortable. Or now they worrying about what people are gonna think of them. Now they worrying about what if they mess up during the appointment, what if they say something wrong. So how can people, as far as setting the right mindset when they were just starting out? So what can you tell them in regard to having the right mindset?
That's also something else where it's you're going to have to feel out a few different things as far as because you do have to know the craft, right? You have to know what you're doing, and you should. This is it's a serious commission you're holding with the state. So as long as you review your notarial acts and know the basics and review those, and if you're not retaining it, go over it, practice. You have to find kind of your way of learning. People learn in different ways. So if it helps for you to go over it with someone, if it just helps for you to just have like a little script, if it helps you to like visualize, whatever you feel comfortable, or do it all, because the fear will set in, but I didn't, for me, I hear people, saying that I didn't have a problem when I first signing. I was like, but again, I just felt comfortable with it. But, when you're a mobile notary, even when you're a loan signing agent, you never know what you're going to get when you go to that appointment, right? You just don't know. And that's just part of working with the public. You're going to get all kinds, all types, all personalities, all people. So, but you really have to stay focused on what you're doing. It's very, very important. So that's the only thing that I would advise is because you're going to have distractions. You're going to have, people talking and all these other things. You really have to be focused on what you're doing, what your part of the appointment is about, what you're there to do, because you're going to have that,
Absolutely.
All of that stuff is going to come up. So if you feel more comfortable with, just playing stuff over in your head or, again, learning a script, that's great. I mean, all of that stuff helps, and it's practice. It's practice and practice. But yeah, eventually you have to pull the trigger, because this is a face-to-face appointment business, and you have to be out there. You can't, just hide behind a camera. You have to actually do the work.
Got you. Looks like you have a question. Look, please forgive me if I messed up your name. I want to say it's Anna Pineda. under homes. You say, did you guys shadow someone in this field?
I did not. No.
Yeah, same here. Same here. I believe. I did practice at home. Like once I received my stuff, I had the kids, so I practiced with them, and then I went to my first appointment. One of my first appointment was I wanted this. It was somewhere local. It's a general notary appointment. It was fairly easy,
Hmm.
and then from there, I see how I was able to interact with the person. And of course you're going to get nervous. Like don't think you're not going to get nervous. Like everything else in life, if you're starting out, you are going to get nervous. That's completely fine. But once you get the first one over with, you have to get the first one over with. A lot of people get stuck where they'll get commission and they have their supplies. A month go by, 3 months go by, 6 months go by, a year go by, and you're like, I want to do this, but I'm afraid. I'm afraid of messing up. Who cares if you mess up?
Hmm.
You have to mess up in order for you to learn. And that is the whole process of you growing, is getting out of your comfort zone. And I feel like a lot of people just need to be, I'm open to learning. I'm also open to failure, because in order for me to reach success, sometimes I have to fail in order for me to get success. So
Hmm.
that's what people need to start realizing, and actually just go out there and do it. Just go out there and do it, because you have greatness in you.
Yeah.
But in order for you to reach that greatness, you have to take the first step. That's what it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
see, so that is what it is. So you mentioned you did paralegal.
Yes.
So how different is that from being a notary?
Not very much, actually, which
Really?
is why it was really easy for me to kind of like move into that space. It didn't really bother me. Like I mentioned, I've always felt very confident. Paperwork is my thing. I don't shy away from it. I've always shuffled papers throughout my career, and it's just I'm comfortable in that space. But what I'm not necessarily comfortable, well, in the going out and the face to face and the everyday, all of that, that does take some getting used to. But
Yes.
for me, I'm not one to just have one source of income. So I was always going to do it. And I always had that in my head. I was going to make this work for me to do it part time. Uh, but sometimes it's not part time. And then again, I'm just in a point in my life where I want to do the work that I want to do.
Mhm.
Hopefully everybody is fortunate enough to do that. And I love being a notary. I love being a loan signing agent, but I'm not there every day, all day. There's other work that I feel passionate about and that I do. And this business allows me to do that. So I work around,
Okay.
and I like that. That's for me. I like having my appointments work around the other work that I do. And sometimes, at the end of the month with loan closings, I'm a little bit busier with that. And then other parts of the, times of the month, I'm not so busy with that. General
Okay.
notary work can happen at any time, all
Yes,
the
they
time.
can.
So yeah, it just depends on, but what I do like and what I appreciate about social media and what I try to do is I always, if I can't do it, because people refer to me all the time, because people want to work with those they know, like, and trust, right?
Yeah.
So, and what you find in a lot of appointments is if you're professional, if you're, giving great service, if you're knowledgeable, if you're doing your job right, they're going to ask you for your card. That happens to me all the time, all
Yeah.
the time.
You're right.
So again, if you know your craft and you know what you do, you take the time to invest in that, they're going to ask you. And if not, people refer work to me all the time. I'm very, very blessed and fortunate that way. So, and that's my name out there. I'm
Yeah.
going to make sure that I know what I'm doing and that I do my job right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I completely agree with you. That is, you are representing yourself, you're
Mhm.
representing your business, you're representing your family. So when you go out there to this appointment, you have to make sure that you are being professional. Being professional at all time is
Well,
key.
thanks.
Looks
Yeah.
like somebody just says you're actually around my area quite often. I happen. Oh, okay. Wow. All right. So definitely send me a message, and if you need any help or anything like that, if you have any questions, definitely definitely send me a message. That is awesome. That's what it's all about, folks. It's all about helping
Yes,
out. It's all about
100%.
helping one another out. So, given the fact that you was in the paralegal field, right? And I'm sure. Now, tell me, have you, like, prior to you becoming a notary,
Yeah.
did you have a lot of notaries marketing to your office to where you was working at?
Yeah, sure.
So, what worked and what didn't work? You want to give a little insight on that?
Okay. Well, for me, since I wasn't the owners of those businesses at that time, the DM thing, you have to be careful about that nowadays. It's just there's so much spam. There's so many robocalls nowadays. I try to reach out as authentically and sincerely as I possibly can, because you have to reach people at a different level other than refer business to me. That's that's not going to work. And
Yeah.
you have to, when you're offering your services, people don't like to be, I don't, like to be sold in that way.
Yeah.
If I have the need for your services and not everybody's going to, well, again, general notary work, there's different needs for that and all the time. And it's true. I always hear that, you can never find a notary when you need one. Sometimes you don't always, they're not always around. They don't always answer the phone. I don't know
That's
what it is,
true.
but, as far as general notary work goes. So yeah, you have to, when you reach out, I try and do it as sincerely as I possibly can. Just
Mhm.
connect with people as honestly as you can,
Yeah,
take a little bit more interest in them and don't make it so much about yourself. Not, well, what can I do for you? What can I do for
that's
you?
true.
It's you want to reach them a little bit, maybe a little bit more personally, and make it a little bit about them, focus on them rather than yourself.
Got
Because
you. Got you.
that's tough.
Yeah, it is. It is. So you don't recommend sending the boxes of chocolate, candies, donuts, and all?
Well, I don't do that, but I know a lot of people do. I've never had to, but I market it a different way, slow and steady. But I know people do. I mean, there's plenty of ways to approach offices and businesses, and people like goodies. I get it.
Yeah.
You don't just want to walk in empty-handed sometimes, and you don't always just want to drop off business cards, because sometimes those go in the trash too. So,
Yeah,
I
that's
get
true.
that, but it's not just going to take one time of you dropping off donuts, for people to start using your services. So it takes a little bit more than that. It takes a little bit more consistency. It takes a little bit more. A little bit more of a connection,
Yeah.
So yeah.
That is, yep, that is amazing. So, guys, even with the marketing to titles and attorney's office, you have to be consistent. The key here is being consistent. Don't just drop them a card one time, then don't show up again 6 months later. Be consistent, and it doesn't have to be the same thing, right? So, let's say, if you go in there, you bring them a card, you drop your card, you introduce yourself, and then the next week, if you are one of those, I'm not knocking you. If you bring them gift, guess what? The following month, you want to bring them a gift basket, that's fine. That's on you. That's your money. I'm not telling you what to do with your money. And the following month, if you want to send them like an email, like a flyer to an email. So now, first you already introduced yourself. They have a picture to the name, like they see your face, and then the following month you send them a gift basket if that's what you do. Then the third month you send them a flyer in the email, and then the fourth month, if you want to rotate again to stop
Yeah.
back in the office, that's one way that you can do it. But you have to find what works for you. Here in Massachusetts, me bringing in, gift basket, never tried it, don't want to do it, not my thing. But I see some people get very creative with those.
Yes.
Like I've seen them on Facebook. Some people actually take the time and dedicate their daytime and their family time, and they get very creative. Like I've seen some stuff. I was like, "Hey, that's amazing," but I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Just too time consuming for me. Looks
Mhm.
like this person says something, but it's in Spanish. I don't speak Spanish, so that's all you. All I heard is
I read
thank
that.
you.
Thank you.
All right. So we have all thing Netta Jane on YouTube saying you are making her she's making me want to utilize my paralegal certificate. Where can I get the entry level experience?
Well, that's a whole nother conversation, depends on what you do. I work with attorneys, so that's a whole nother separate business. Depending on your state, and you really have to research what your state allows, because sometimes your state doesn't allow you to service the public. Sometimes your state only allows you to service attorneys. So really look into what you're allowed to do. In our state, there's something called a legal document assistant, to where it's similar to filing a notary bond, in that you do file a bond, and this person is allowed to, as long as they have the qualifications required by the county and they file the bond and they have insurance and all of that, they're allowed to prepare certain types of legal documents for sub-representing litigants, not even necessarily litigants, someone who's self-representing. And again, you got to do all the research and do that, but it depends on what your state allows. I really don't service the public anymore. I have attorneys that I've worked with off and on, and have just right now I've just been really, really busy with work. But again, they know me. They know I do a good job. They know that I take it seriously, because I do. So, and it's just like any other business, word just spreads, right? Because they obviously need my services, and they've heard about me from whoever, and the referrals come that way. So it's very similar to any type of business, to where if you do a good job, you know what you're doing, and you enjoy what you're doing, and you do the job right, people are gonna hear about it. So I've been very, very, very fortunate. But yes, please research your state law, please, because that's key. I can't give I don't give legal advice. So yeah, you have to check out what your state allows on that.
Yep, definitely. Hey, you know what? State laws, knowing your state laws applies to every business. So that's what I got out of this one right here. So what has had the most impact on your business?
Okay. So since I do general notary work and loan signings, are we talking about both?
Sure. Both.
Okay. For the general notary work, that's how I started out. And I really, really enjoyed it. But, when the pandemic hit, I wasn't really seeing too much of that slowed down for a little bit. And then the loan signings shifted, and, the rates plummeted, and, people didn't want to work. So that blew up. But again, as far as like loan signing goes, I've been fortunate to kind of work in a couple of different markets. 2018 I thought was good for me. I was just starting out, and I had got some experience, and I was like, wow, this is awesome. And then, 2019, I did a lot more, and I networked a lot more, and some people didn't have a great 2019. So, it depends on what you want to do with the business. So, and then, I think a lot of people, as far as that goes, came in the business to where it was just like the need was just so there, just because of things, the market just shifting so drastically, so rapidly. So that was the thing, right? The work would just come to you. People, some escrow companies and offices and title companies were just desperate for people, because they wanted to fund all of these loans, and everything was backed up and all of that. So maybe the misconception was that it was always going to be like this. But a lot of trainers and a lot of people that have, were trying to advise people at that time was just like, this is not going to last. Like, this will eventually slow down. So, people can get out of that whatever the experience that they, want, but it's a different market. Things are always going to change. Always. That's the thing that people have to realize when they get into a business. The things are going to change all the time. So that's when you have to evaluate all the time, right? You have to look at your month, see what you did right, see what you did wrong, see where you could do improvement. And it's constant. So you know, being a small business owner is serious. It's
Yeah.
like it's serious stuff. You know, it's not just something that, you know, you can sure you can get some quick money, but
Yeah.
and to be honest, I kind of do like that about loan signing. You know, you get paid. Well, and general notary work in general, you know,
Yeah.
it's something that you can get paid on the spot. You're done, in and out. I love that part. Like, I want to do my
Yeah.
job. I want to get this done, and let's
That's
go.
it.
You know, that's me sometimes. So when I'm go, it's like I'm on, and I like it. Because it gives me a break from all of the legal work that I do for attorneys. So and I get to have both, and I love it. And that's the thing. So when I'm out there and, you know, doing notary work and I'm, or, you know, loan signings or whatever, and it's like, oh, you know, that's great too.
Mhm.
So, but just realize that things are always going to change, and it's up to you to evaluate whether or not it's working for you, whether or not it's worth it for you. Gas prices can change, rates can change, you know,
Yes.
a pandemic can hit, and, you know, you just have to be prepared. That's why every business owner needs to be, I mean, they really should teach like finance in school because
Yes, they
you
should.
have to get your money right. You just have to. I mean, I'm not here to tell anybody what to do, but I mean, that's one thing that's going to go up and down. It's going to go up and down. So, you know, it's how you prepare yourself. And that's one of the
Mhm.
things that you have to set yourself up for success for is making sure that that income comes in, you know, make a plan.
Yep, that's
How are
it.
you going to get through the dry spells? You know, if you have a dry spell, or how are you going to,
No,
so
there have been plenty of dry spell. I mean, I've experienced dry spell, and
yeah.
that's one thing people don't consider when they are starting this business.
Hmm.
They feel like, again, it's also, just let me say that it's based on your market,
Right.
because every market is different. But some markets you'll go through a dry spell longer than others.
Hmm.
So if that's where, once again, we are not providing financial advice here, but that's where, if you are budgeting properly and you're not just, every time you make some type of income, you are spending it. If you budget properly, let's say this month you had, like, let's say you had 30 signings this month, and the next month you only have 15. So now if you spend all the money you made doing your 30 signings,
Yes.
then it's slow next month. Now, that's when it gets difficult. So you really have to take the time where you manage, the ins and out of your business.
Hmm.
And I think, that is very, very important. And so I've never been to Cali, right? So I heard it's nice. My wife been out there a couple of times. She loves it. So how do you market? Like, given the fact that you was already in the field as a paralegal, do you market to other attorneys' office, or how do you go about your marketing?
You know, it's it's really just this, you know, what I've been talking about. It's the word of mouth. I've been blessed with word of mouth. You always want to hand out your card. You always want to talk about your business. You always want to put it out there. It's kind of like it's not one thing necessarily that I market.
Okay.
It's a lot of different ways, and it's all the time. So uh, there's always some way every day that I'm talking about something that I do, right? And I consider that marketing. It works for me, you know. But for somebody new, I mean, when I started from like zero, you want to start with just your network, right? Just your small little network. And then you have to go out, and you do have to start going out and reaching out to people. I mean, that's just part of it.
Yeah.
Um, if if you do want to get into loan signings, you can also sign up with signing services. That's some great experience there. But
Yeah.
people are complaining about the fees there too. So it depends. It really depends on what. If you want to start off slow and steady, then yeah, little by little, little by little. But if someone comes in with the mindset, it was like, I want to quit my job, I want to quit my job, I want to quit my job, it's like that's a little worrisome, because you're already too late, right?
Yeah.
You should have been. If you can't stand your job, you've already been looking way too late.
Yeah.
So, you're if you want something sustainable, you have to put in those little steps every day. And that's just what I
Absolutely.
say about that. But if you're just kind of like, well, I'll feel around and see how it goes, and then you're gonna get that part back. So it's tough. But yeah,
Yes.
just you have to do a little something to market your business every day.
Yep.
Talk
That,
to people. You really get out there and really put it out there. So, and
oh yeah.
nowadays there's social media. You should at least have a minimum of Google My Business page and
Ooh.
a website. So,
Yep.
I mean,
Google My
that's just the
Business.
basics.
Google
Hmm.
My Business is absolute key.
Yeah,
And I
you're
can
like
tell,
a pro
yeah,
at Google My
like
Business.
I keep telling people that it's free. It's
Yeah.
free. Like, just make
Hmm.
sure, you set it up properly. That's all you have
Hmm.
to do. Like, you don't even have to go pay somebody, like $500 for a website. You can just get enough business
No,
to Google My Business
I have a free
if
one.
it, yeah, if it's set up properly. You see what I mean?
Right.
And that's one way I market myself is, I'll post on Google My Business.
Hmm.
I try to do it like every other day. My car is, I have a magnet on there,
Right.
so I'm marketing to that. Instagram, Facebook, and sometimes I wear my T-shirt out and about. So I'm always finding ways to market myself, which is it's a great thing. So there are ways you guys can market yourself without spending a lot of money.
Right.
And I remember there was one of my last videos, I told you guys to just get one of those markers where people will be writing like for sale on the back of their vehicle. Just write it on, if you most of us have a car, just write it on the back window, mobile
Hmm.
notary,
Hmm.
big letters with your phone number on it. I guarantee you're going to get some lead. It's extremely easy but very effective way for you to
Right.
market your services.
Hmm.
So you've been in paralegal for 20 years. How long you see yourself in notary?
That's a great question. For me, uh, again, I really enjoy being a notary and loan signing agent, but I don't necessarily want to be tied to California forever.
Okay.
I'm at a point in my life where I want to do the work that I want to do. I'm a planner. I mean, I look 5, 10, 15 years down the road and I got a plan. I live in one of the most expensive states in the country. Okay. You gotta get it. You gotta get a plan because unfortunately, I've seen so many instances where people can't even like retire with dignity, and it's really hard, and it's sad to see that. So I'm a planner, and again, I because of that, I want to make sure that my certain parts of my income are going to carry me for as long as I want them to.
Yep.
And I don't know that I want to spend the rest of my life here in California. So, but if I don't plan for that now, and if I don't have those income streams to be able to sustain me, if I do want to make a change, then I'm stuck to California, right?
Yeah.
And I don't like being stuck. I want to have options. Like I need to have options. That's just me. I don't stick to just one income stream. I like having multiple, and I don't like to just stick to doing one thing. But again, you got
Absolutely.
to have a plan. So if I'm not working towards that, I don't want to just be hit one day where it's like, oh, I have an opportunity to move out of state, but I can't do it because I have this notary business and I'm, really tied down to
Yeah.
here. And how is that all going to work and all of that? So I want to make sure for me, again, that I have those options available to me it's all about freedom for me. It really
Absolutely.
is. And as long as I have the freedom to do the work that I want to do, that I know that I'm good at and that I'm passionate about, I'm happy. So yes, of course we need to make money and we need to pay the bills. We need to support our families and all of that. But for me, you can make money doing anything. I gotta be in it for me. That's just me. I
Yeah.
have to want to do it. So, because you can make money doing a lot of things. It doesn't mean I want to be doing it all day, every day.
Exactly.
That's the worst possible case for
That
me,
is.
right? Like,
That is.
well, yeah, but the money's great. It's like, so I
Exactly.
it's
Ex-
it's really a privilege, and it's when you find what you're good at and what you can make a living at,
Yep.
and something that you could be successful at, and success is different for all of us.
Yep. That's
So
true.
please do a little bit of self work, please, and figure that part out, because we're all different, and that's our job. That's just a little advice here, but
Oh yeah.
that's really on us. It's not on anybody to hand us or give us anything. We make the calls in our own life, and only we know what's going to make us happy and fulfilled and successful. So my idea of success is not what anybody else's idea of
Yes.
success.
Yep.
It's really not. So figure it out. And again, if you're just chasing the money, you're not going to be too happy about it. I mean, yeah, you would be a lot happier if you were making a good living and getting paid the money that you want to get paid, doing something that you love and that you're good at. That's like the dream right there. When it all comes together, and it's like you make a good living and you do what you love and you do what you're good at, because skills can be learned. I mean, let's be honest. So figure out what skills you're good at, figure out what skills you can learn and maybe be better at. And if it's not working, then do something else. We're not stuck to anything. We're really not. It's on us. So we're not even stuck in this market. I don't want it's really not. I mean, there are things that we can do. I'm not one to, I'll have a fit for a little bit, but then after that, I'm just like, I got to figure out a plan here. I never focus. I focus a little bit on, of course you have to be aware. Okay, this is what it is. This is the situation that it is right now. But what am I going to do about it? Not what anybody else is going to do about it. That's on me, because then I'll have to ask myself, well, how much have I marketed today? How many times have I talked about my business today? How many marketed events have I gone to today? How many, that's on me. It's not on anybody else. It's not newbies' fault. It's not trainers' fault. It's not anybody else. I mean, because there's other things that you can do to figure it out.
Yep. Be accountable. You have to be accountable. And then one of the key thing is Jenny say here, you have to define what success is to you. It's simple as that. Stop worrying about what the next person is doing, because you don't know what they went through in order for them to be to have achieved that level of success.
That's right.
So define what it is to you, do some self-evaluation, and know exactly what is it that you really want. Financial freedom. You made a good point as far as financial freedom. Your financial freedom may not be the same as my financial freedom. Some people goals might be like, I need to be making, let's say on average, $15,000 a month.
Right.
For me to be financially free. And the next person might say, well, I need to be making 50 in order for me to be financially free. So those are some stuff that you guys really have to take the time to dig deep and be honest with yourself. What is financial freedom to you, and what is success to you? Not what everybody else is doing, not what society is telling you success is. Forget that. Cancel that noise.
Right.
At the end of the day, the person that's looking back at you in that mirror is yourself, and that's who you need to be honest with. I think that is amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing. Let me see if anybody have any question. Please drop those questions.
And I'll just say one thing about, making 50K a month. Just please remember too, not that I don't mean to be telling people their business and stuff, but it really doesn't matter if you're making 15K, if you're spending 15K. So you got to watch your money. It's so important, because then you're just spinning your wheels, and then you really feel like you're not getting ahead. You're working so hard for this, 10K or 15K or whatever it is a month. And it's like, yeah, but now I'm broke.
Exactly.
I'm still broke. So
it looks like Tiger Toledo, great man. If you guys not following Tiger, please do. Just follow this guy here. He's absolutely amazing. He said, your gift is what you are paid for. Your calling is what you are made for.
Yeah.
Understand your gift. Find your calling. Looks like we have a question. What's the greatest lesson you've learned on your journey? Ooh, that's a good
the
one.
greatest lesson I've learned on my journey is that it's up to me. It's 150% up to me. And I don't want to hear nothing about what anybody else is doing. They're not in my house. They're not paying my bills. They're not they're not my family. I don't care. I don't care.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Let me see. My greatest lesson would be, oh man, overcoming adversity. And I remember, like one of my first signing, right? First time doing a
Mhm.
loan signing,
Yeah.
it was that appointment went absolutely horrible. Like to the point where I questioned myself if I ever wanted to do another loan signing appointment ever again. It was bad. It was
Mhm.
raining. The signers were arguing. Then the guy redirected energy at me. I didn't have copies. Tried to go
Mhm.
to the store. The store was closed. I had to drive back home an hour. I didn't have paper at the house. I had to go to the store, go to Walmart, buy paper, then drive back another hour. And at that moment, because when we are going through adversity, we start questioning ourselves. Like, should I
Yeah.
be doing this? Do I really want to do it? You
Yep.
know what? I don't
Yep.
even want to do this. Like, this is annoying. Like,
Yes.
then you get through it. You get
Mhm.
through it. And looking back at it now, and I'm like, man, I'm glad I went through that.
Mhm.
So the worst that could happen at an appointment happened, and I handled it. I went through it, and now I don't know how many appointments I've been through
Right.
since then. Now, if anything bad that's happening, as long as it's not threatening my safety,
Yes.
there are no issues.
Right. Safety first, please.
Oh yeah,
For
safety
anybody,
first.
you know.
Absolutely. Let me
Uh
see if we have any more
let somebody
questions.
know where you're going, you know. It
Yep.
should only take you X, Y, and Z amount of time, and then have somebody call you if, that time's passed. Have a safety word, all of that. I
Yeah.
scan the room a little bit just to make sure I see the exits. I
Yes.
took a safety class. I think it was at the NNA one year, and just making sure. You'll be surprised that you can use a just it. If you ever feel, I mean, the worst case would happen, but actually a pen can be a weapon
Yep.
because you just have to surprise somebody. You don't have to, sit there and, but the
Exactly,
art of surprise.
exactly. And like safety first, as
Hmm.
always. And I don't know, some people are like, I know myself, I always have some type of self defense, anything on me, whether it's a
Right.
pen, whether
Anything.
it's a pocket knife, anything. Like,
Hmm.
like I'm licensed to carry here in Massachusetts. So it's like I don't go out to look for trouble, but in case
Hmm.
I find myself in a situation where I have to defend myself, and I have every right to defend myself because I have a family to go to go back home to. So just like you ladies out there, find something that works for you.
Yeah.
If you want to use a pepper spray, you want to use those pressure point pens that they sell, anything. But you have to know that at any given time, your safety matters. And
Right.
these clients that you're going to, you really don't know them. The only time you speak to them is you call in to confirm the appointment, and when you go there, you don't know their history, you don't know their
Hmm.
background, you don't know anything about them. So always make sure that you're prioritizing your safety, because if you
Yeah.
have a family, you have to go back home to your loved ones. That's what matters.
Yeah, because it's not just the people that, the houses that you go to, it's all the other people that live there. So just I always keep my eyes wandering, and people might think that, oh, like, are you casing my house or something? No, I just want to make sure that I
No,
can see everything that's going on, because and then you get distractions sometimes, and sometimes pets will run at you at out of nowhere, and just try and keep your eyes moving, and focus
yeah,
on what you're doing, of course, but
exactly,
don't just have that
exactly.
tunnel vision. You gotta be aware of your surroundings all the time.
That's true. That's true. So, question I have for you: how do you balance work life and family, like self care? Like, what does self care mean to you? Like, how do you balance that?
Well, self-care is very important to me. I never realized that until, you know, later on in life, but it really, really is. So, I'm, and it's not to say that I'm not a hard worker, because I am. And I'm very blessed in that sense that I do have all this work coming to me at all times.
Yeah,
But uh, you have to have time for yourself, because if I'm no good, I'm no good. And how am I going to do my job? How am I going to help people? How am I going to do the things that I love if I'm no good? So you got to fill up your cup. And again, that's dependent on the person, right? That's a very personal question, as far as like what you do to relax, what you do to center yourself, what you do to to stay calm, all of that, because it's all very, very important. For me, I have a habit of, if I am talking to like 5 different people at once, to try and respond at all times, but I have to remind myself to slow down, because one thing at a time, but I have that reaction of like, I gotta respond here. Who needs this? Who needs that? And, so, but if I just got to take those breaths and then come back and focus, and it's like, okay, and then just regroup, and it'll all be okay. But yeah, everybody needs to figure out what it is that that they need, in their life as far as self-care, because that's a very personal question. But please, please, please take the time, that time out for it. And that's another thing that this business allows you to do. If you can set your appointments when you need to, of course, you need to be available for if the appointment is already set, and that's on you if you could take it or not. But I mean, if you already have something scheduled, and someone wants to make an appointment for that time that you've scheduled, like you time, I would take the me time. But there's always going to be realistically, because sometimes you just need a break. Sometimes you just need a break. I find that if I'm good with a day. I mean, one day where it's just like I don't do anything, like maybe once a month, right? I mean, like nothing. So, and then I'm good. You feel recharged, you feel ready to ready to go, and you need that. You don't want to burn out. I don't want to burn out. I don't want to burn out at all. So I make sure that my burnout meter is working, and if I feel like I need a break, then I need a break.
Oh yeah, that self-care is extremely important, and not just for the ladies, also for us guys too.
Of course.
Because I know a lot of guys that don't want to talk about self-care. Look, man, get your life together. Like, look, otherwise you're just gonna burn yourself out. Like I burned myself out before, and where actually hurt more. Where I was thinking, man, I should have just took that day off, or I should have just, spend that. Look, you don't have to do anything fancy. You can just stay home, watch a movie, go out for a walk, like anything. But us men need to start realizing that health also matters. We go through burnout. Take the time. Like it's not unmanly to be like, I'm taking a self-care day. Like if you have a license, go to the range and shoot. Who cares? Like, go talk to someone. But it's okay to do that. And that's one thing I've had to realize. And my wife, she'd be like, look, you're tired right now. Go take a nap. I'm like, no, I still have to go take a nap or go relax. Like go lay down. Like, but it's very important for us as well. And and I feel like a lot of guys, they don't want to talk about that. But look, at the end of the day, you can make all the money in the world. If your health is not there, it's useless.
Yeah.
It's useless. Looks like Finished Strong Notary said, I need to work on taking time off. Feel like the world is always asking for more. Yeah, definitely take the time off because your body needs it. And last few questions I have for you. Any advice for new notaries? If somebody come to you right now and say, hey, I want to become a notary.
Well, it does happen all the time. It still happens, even in appointments where people, I still get approached all the time. So what's it like being notary? I've been thinking about doing it. I try to be very realistic with people, but not negative, right? And as transparent as possible, because again, the ones that see all of the fancy stuff and you can make so-and-so amount of appointment, blah, blah, blah. And that's great. But there's a lot more to it than that. You can glamorize any profession, right? And if you're selling something, So talk to people, first to get a real sense of what it is. And then kind of make that decision on your own. And it's a lot to just kind of, we'll see how it goes. I mean, but maybe get more than one, of course, opinion if you can, because there's always people that are going to be doing something that you want to do, and that's how you learn from experienced people. So try and get some insight there. I know people aren't always willing and open to help out others, but they should realize, and I wish more people would realize that, nobody started knowing everything. I sure didn't. I learned I had mentors, and I had people that I asked questions, to, and all of that. And we should always want to give back, but some people don't want to. Some people think they're a threat, and no, you're just going to take my business. And
exactly.
that's a complete wrong mindset. 150%. If you're a business person, it's on you. It's not on anybody else. I mean, yeah, you have all these other extenuating circumstances and all that, but again, it all comes down to what you're going to do about it, not what anybody else is going to do about it. So if it's really, really something that you want to do, you should do it. I'm always of that mindset for sure. You should try out as many things as you want, whatever piques your interest, whatever you feel like you're good at, or whatever you feel like can serve you to help serve others. Your skills and what you bring to the marketplace is what's going to come back to you, right? You can't go into, the job market or anything in a business without knowing what it is and what your part in that is and what you get back, so
Absolutely.
It's not just, and again, it's not just you're going to put up a website and all this work is going to come to you. No, if you really want to be a business person and make it work for yourself, you have to make it work for yourself. So as far as fancy training and all of that, if you feel you need it, I didn't. There's certain certifications maybe for loan signings that certain signing services require, like the NNA is pretty much a standard. So you should probably take the NNA certification. But keep your costs down. And again, that's another thing that I really liked about the notary business is that the startup costs are fairly, low. And it's just a great versatile business. You can do it full-time, part-time, as much as you want.
Absolutely.
So if it's something that you think you're interested in doing, then you should do it.
Yep, definitely. I completely agree with everything you said. And my advice, as always, just know your state laws, know what you can and cannot do in your state. And if you are looking for training, just keep in mind that those trainers may be talking from the viewpoint of what they are able to do in their own state. So some stuff they might do, you may not be able to do it. So don't get mad when you pay that $500, then only to find out this certificate is useless in your state. So do your research, know your state laws, and be willing to just go out there and make the best of it.
It's and again, if it's something that you really think you'd be good at, people should do it. But know what it really is and what it entails, and know that it's really up to you. Whether or not you're really gonna. Because you're going to have bad days, right?
Yeah,
and you're working with the public, you're working with all different kinds of people.
And they're going to have bad days.
Yeah, it's not always easy. I'll tell you that. All kinds. So you have to have your mind right? You have to really focus on what you're doing and what you're there to do, and remain professional. Don't let people ruffle you too much, because that's always going to happen. You're always going to have rude people, people that don't value your time, don't value you. You don't have to work with them again. Just get the job done and you're out of there. And then you don't ever, again, you don't have to, I've had to deal with that with escrow officers. And so it's not just working with the public too. It's like, I've had, people in the real estate business treat me like crap, but I'm still there to get the job done. And then when the job is done, I'm not working with you anymore.
That's it.
Period. Because respect is a two-way street. We're independent contractors, right? We don't work for anybody. Yes, I like, I'm there to get the job done and I know what my part is, but as notaries too, we can't force anybody to do anything. So just always be mindful of what you're there to do. You're not there to do, what your job is and what your state laws say that you're allowed to do. And anything else, Don't listen to anybody else. Really don't listen to anybody else, you know,
exactly.
because you might get some pressure to do some things that you're not allowed to do. I have. Everybody has. But yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And the last thing is, what book are you reading?
Um.
Do you have any book recommendations?
Oh, shoot. No, I'm not reading a book at the moment. I was looking at a textbook the other day, but I wouldn't count that because I no, yeah, I don't have one
No,
right now. I'm sorry.
no books, no books. Well,
I'm drawing like a blank. You totally caught me off guard. I'm like, oh man, a book, and I know I have one.
I
I know
got
I'm
you.
reading. I'm drawing a blank.
I got you. So, the book I'm reading this week is, let me do it for Instagram first. The 5 Lessons a Millionaire Taught Me About Life and Wealth by Richard Paul Evans. This is the book right here.
Awesome.
This is the books right here. I just got it. My wife got it for me the other day, so I started reading it. And so far, so good. So I'm just going to go along with the flow, see what I can get out of this book. And
There's always something to get out
oh
of
yeah,
anything.
oh yeah,
There's
absolutely
always
right.
something that there's always takeaways.
Yep,
You just have to be open to receiving them, you know.
absolutely right. You are absolutely right. Well, man, it's been absolutely amazing. Like, it was an honor having you on.
Honor to you. Honor's all mine,
It's
sir. All mine.
I appreciate all the help, all the advice that, since we started talking a couple years ago. You are doing great things, and I wish you much success in everything that you do, not just the notary world, just in everything in life.
Thank you so much.
I can only wish you success, wish you growth, and for you to reach that financial freedom goal that you have, and
Oh, I
hopefully
have it.
just live
It'll happen.
California,
It'll happen.
and leave California. So so that's the goal. I do appreciate it. I
Never know.
appreciate yeah. I
Never know.
appreciate everyone on Instagram, on YouTube that tune in. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for the support. If you have my Instagram, you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, just go ahead and subscribe to it. Mather and Notary Services LLC. I really appreciate you guys' support. And Jenny, thank you so much for being on and taking the time out.
Thank you,
Here
sir.
tonight.
Anytime. And again, I want to thank you for everything you do for your notary community, for all the mentoring you do. You really, you are what is called giving back. You give back. You
I
spend a
appreciate
lot
that.
of your time giving back. So
I
that's,
appreciate that. Thank
and
you
I
so much.
appreciate what you do, really sincerely, because I don't have time to put in all the content you have time to. And I know you do it from the heart. It shows 150%.
Yep.
You can tell it shows. Thank you so much for everything that you do.
No problem. So thank you. I hope you have a great, well, I was going to say night, but it's daytime over there. Have a great
Well,
day.
it's 5 o'clock.
You
You
have
can
a
get back
great
to your
day.
beautiful family. We've taken
All
up
right.
a lot of your time.
No problem. I appreciate it. You have a great day and be safe out there. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.